5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Just scratching made you rich. So enjoy your fruity pebbles, you yabba dabba bitch.
They're killing! MCM Punk, and I am the voice of the voiceless.
Be the man. You gotta beat the man. Woo, woo, woo. You know it. I got okey doke by the
Live from the Pro Wrestling Report studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This is Monday Night Meltdown with your hosts, Damian Nelson and David Hero.
I'm proud to say we're doing things the Vince McMahon way.
That's the bottom line. What? Let's go. Let's go.
Bringing you all the latest news and views from professional wrestling. Monday Night Meltdown is on the air.
Cal? Yeah.
Hello, fans, and welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report Monday Night Meltdown. Damian Nelson. Sorry about that. The interns were still bringing me materials and information on the big stars and the big people appearing on Sundays. I'm sorry, on Wednesdays. PWR 10 million view celebration. But before we get to that, tonight it's WWE RAW, just going off the air from Dallas, Texas. Triple H standing tall, but Brock Lesnar standing taller as we go into SummerSlam this Sunday on pay-per-view. Thanks again for joining us wherever you are, everybody. This is Damian Nelson, along with Matthew Thomas and David Hero. I welcome you to the broadcast. Also want to let you know we're going to be entering the phone zone a little bit later on. The number, 877-317-9772. So, David, Matthew, the end of Raw, Shawn Michaels beaten down, his arm broken by Brock Lesnar. Triple H furious, Brock Lesnar standing seemingly strongest going into SummerSlam this Sunday. From my standpoint, Matthew, Brock Lesnar is unbeatable come this Sunday.
It further paints that picture of Brock Lesnar as the mean, nasty, dangerous man going into SummerSlam, and you had an idea that something like that was going to happen with the language that was used to Shawn Michaels to kind of foreshadow everything. You didn't know exactly how it was going to go down, but I think it just further adds to that build of getting people to press that buy button come Sunday to see exactly what's going to go down between him and Triple H.
I want to welcome everybody to the chat room here on Blog Talk Radio as well, joining us and discussing the live broadcast, and many of you have been here all night long discussing WWE RAW. David Hero, your thoughts on that final segment? Shawn Michaels, as we had expected and talked about it last week on Primetime, gets beat down by Brock Lesnar, seemingly not going to be there Sunday in Triple H's corner. As a matter of fact, Triple H saying he did not want Shawn in his corner this Sunday. What did you think of the ending of tonight's 3-hour Raw?
You mean that 40-minute go-home closing segment where you
didn't like it?
Well, that was the heat right there. We've all wondered what was the heat going to be in this match, and it was now Triple H going to be avenging the broken arm of his little Gilligan, Shawn Michaels. And you know what? Hey, if that's the route they want to go, obviously Brock and Triple H is going to be the headlining main event at SummerSlam, as opposed to any one of the championship matches, the WWE or the SmackDown brand world champion. That match hasn't even really been named yet. And where, the go-home show.
Oh, what's been named about it is your guy, Alberto Del Rio, ain't going to be in it.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he's in it, and it's a triple threat. Well, if two triple threats to be in SummerSlam. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
I don't like it.
But, you know what? I mean, come on. For me, tonight, there was some good action, I thought, but it was still a long 3 hours. And when you have the closing segment, not over the World Championship, once again, the fans get frustrated. CM Punk's not complaining about Brock Lesnar, though, is he? He's not complaining that Brock Lesnar is trying to, steal his spotlight.
Well, it was the second week in a row, to the point you just made, David, where CM Punk was in the opening contest on Raw. Last week against Rey Mysterio, this week against The Big Show. However, that was only done to get to what would be one of the top matches of the night, which was a tag team match between Daniel Bryan and The Big Show going up against CM Punk and John Cena. And in that matchup, we saw John Cena and CM Punk win. However, Matthew, it was clear that there was dissension and distrust amongst those two as CM Punk mocked John Cena. Then following that, John Cena mocking CM Punk. Some intrigue built for that big three-way matchup this Sunday night at SummerSlam on pay-per-view.
Which, I think it desperately did need to be built, because I think that Punk-Cena is where the story is at in this match. The Big Show, as much as I respect him as a competitor, and as much as I think he's one of the better big men, he just seems like the third wheel in this whole thing. And Damian David, Big Show's involvement has yet to really take with me. So I was glad to see at least there were some steps made toward the Cena Punk side of the story.
Yeah, that's an interesting question, Matthew. What is Big Show's role in this matchup? And I'll throw it to you, David. Not only what is his role, but is this more of a marquee matchup to be just singles between John Cena and CM Punk, or does Big Show have a meaning or purpose that we can extract right now before the matchup this Sunday on SummerSlam?
I think Big Show is a big threat for CM Punk's championship on Sunday at SummerSlam. CM Punk may be the guy right now, and John Cena is the face of the company, but Big Show still has the weapon of mass destruction, and I honestly believe that Big Show has, I think, a better chance of winning the championship than John Cena does on Sunday. And
Really?
I think absolutely. I think Big Show is the underdog favorite in this match.
Well, we'll see what happens this Sunday at SummerSlam. By the way, for those of you listening to us in the Milwaukee area, you can watch SummerSlam at no charge, completely free, FREE free, at Karma Bar and Grill. That's at 600 East Ogden, downtown Milwaukee. Free parking, great food, great drinks, and one big star. Joining us to watch SummerSlam, Shane Helms will be our guest at Karma. Shane Helms, the Hurricane, Sugar Shane Helms, whatever you want to call him. He will be there Sunday as part of the Pro Wrestling Report celebration, watching SummerSlam live. So if you live in the southeastern Wisconsin area, hell, even in the northeastern Illinois area, come on up and join us at Karma. Last time we hosted an event there was with Billy Gunn in December, and it was an amazing event. Glad to have the same thing happen this Sunday for SummerSlam on pay-per-view. Another great matchup tonight was a three-way matchup that came out of Piper's Pit. Yes, indeed, Rowdy Piper, the Hot Rod, back on Raw tonight, hosting Piper's Pit. It was Raw active. The fans picked Chris Jericho, but added to the fray were the other two men the fan had the option of picking, which were The Miz and Dolph Ziggler. So Jericho out first, says it's a dream come true, first time being on Piper's Pit. He's then interrupted by Dolph Ziggler, and then they are both interrupted by The Miz. An awkward segment at times, but one that culminated in a great three-way dance between three tremendous athletes, and yes, I do mean The Miz as well. David Hero, your thoughts on the Piper's Pit coming back to Raw and the subsequent match after?
You know what? I wasn't thrilled about the Piper's Pit, but if that's what they got to do to get to that three-way, I'm all for it. I thought that match was great. I thought all three guys worked hard. And you know what? Those are the three guys that have delivered. Even The Miz, even though he hasn't been on TV as often as in the past, he always finds a way to get involved in something meaningful. And Dolph Ziggler is the up-and-coming stud. And Chris Jericho, he's been a mainstay in this company, and he's always put together good matches. But why they had to have Piper's Pit to facilitate to get there, that I don't know. I think they could have used Shawn Michaels in Piper's Pit, or Brock Lesnar in Piper's Pit would have meant more to me as a fan watching.
Really?
You don't think so? You don't think you would have rather seen Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman in Piper's Pit?
I don't think they needed it, though, because Paul Heyman did a tremendous job, as usual, speaking tonight with that indemnification clause. And even when he stopped Triple H from getting in the ring, or at least attempted to, Paul Heyman is just brilliant at what he does. And you realize how lacking the wrestling business is now of talent of his caliber every time he steps in the ring. I don't think they needed Piper's Pit. However, if Piper would have been the ultimate victim, maybe that would have been more impactful.
You know what? This match sold itself. I mean, Triple H, they show this segment with Brock and Hunter every 15 minutes, I think it seems like. Wouldn't you agree? Change it up.
They showed it at least 3 times tonight. Yeah, it does get a bit repetitive and old, but
yeah,
they're driving the message home. And
do something different.
That's what they're hoping to sell this pay-per-view with, correct? I mean, really, this is the main event.
Well, that's what closed the show. That's obviously the match that they're trying their hardest to sell to the crowd. I mean, put it this way. If this SummerSlam doesn't do better pay-per-view buys than last year, when you have Brock versus Triple H, you have your 2 biggest stars, full-time stars in Punk and Cena in a title match, and then you of course have the World Championship match. You got Cody. No, he's not on the show. You got the Miz against Rey Mysterio.
Save Cody.
But boy, I mean, what else can they do? It's a pretty stacked card.
Speaking of stacked cards, Matthew, I think it is. I mean, once we see the actual full lineup, because we still don't know what's happening with the World Heavyweight Championship matchup. You got Daniel Bryan trying to lobby his way into that matchup during the opening matchup between Punk and Big Show. You got to imagine perhaps he's going to be in it. You say maybe it's going to end up being a 3-way. I hope not. But Daniel Bryan way over, hugely over. I'm not sure if Sheamus can overcome the popularity of Mr. No, 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 Yes, Yes, Yes on Sunday at SummerSlam, if it is indeed that matchup. We did see Rey Mysterio sent out a tweet tonight, though, saying that the Miz should not make sure that, to Jericho, saying make sure you save some of the Miz for me at SummerSlam on Sunday. So it looks like that match is going to happen as well. WWE with a lot of eggs in the SummerSlam basket, but tonight on Raw, they also gave a lot of time to wrestling again. And really, over the course of these last several weeks, that's been the one thing that's consistent with Raw, is there's time being given for wrestling now. And I don't fault that as a wrestling fan. And let's not fool ourselves. Raw is an entertainment program. And within that entertainment program comes wrestling matches at times. And even tonight, it included a match between JTG and Ryback. Now, I found it interesting that they mentioned JTG's recent tweets expressing his dissatisfaction with his utilization in WWE just days after firing Abraham Washington for, well, being as outspoken, maybe more outspoken than JTG was. Maybe JTG got his punishment when Ryback came out and was fed JTG. And what was fascinating about this, Matthew, was there were so many more feed me more chants than the Goldberg chants that we even heard at the beginning of the matchup.
Oh, he was over tonight. I was very surprised by that. And the concern with Ryback that I've had pretty much since he debuted is that he's kind of gravitating, especially with the Goldberg chants, to a borderline kind of unintentional comedy character. And tonight was the first night that it really seemed like he had some momentum with the crowd. And I just got to throw one thing out there, though. JTG voicing his fear of catching pink eye from Ryback, to me, made the match. Best thing I've ever seen in a Ryback match.
Was the music new tonight with the Feed Me More piped in?
Yeah.
And
got some new music now, too.
That's the stuff that works, and the fans seemingly latched onto it. You know who they haven't latched onto, though, David Hero, yet? They haven't latched onto this guy who's got Sharpie marker on his face and lost to a luchador tonight. Tensai.
Well,
David
he's
Hero,
he's a bad guy.
Wait a minute. Is Tensai, correct me if I'm wrong, because at times I forget, my memory's a little shady. At times, I don't recall. Is Tensai a member of the Mighty Mouse Club? I mean, just let me know.
He is a proud T-shirt wearing member of Team Super Friends.
The Mighty Mouse Club. Now, let's see. Let's go through the list. He got beat a couple weeks in a row by Tyson Kidd, an amazing talent, taking nothing away from him. But he got beat in a pretty quick way by Sin Cara tonight. And he blames it on Sakamoto? Come on. He's just like you, David Hero. You deflect, he deflects.
You know what? We're just smart. We know where the weak link is, and we point it out to the world. That's exactly what that is.
Didn't look to me like he was winking at all. It just looked to be looking normally.
Listen, are you making comments about Sakamoto here?
Let's talk about a true talent and an endorsed star. And by the way, if you follow us on Twitter, you know that just this morning we announced that as a part of PWR 10 million tomorrow night, an endorsed talent will be appearing on the Pro Wrestling Report 10 million view celebration, an endorsed talent from WWE. All right? A talent that's never appeared on our air before will be joining us Wednesday, and it doesn't stop there. This is gigantic, or as you say, David, humongous, or what do you say, Hugh Morris?
Humendous.
Oh, humendous, yes, that. Announcement tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., pwrshow.com, YouTube, and on Twitter. Nobody can predict the final talent we're going to be announcing that's going to be a part of PWR 10 million, the 10 million view celebration tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Be sure to be glued close to your Twitter feed to find out who that is. It is going to exceed the hype. But I'm the only one who knows who that endorsed talent is that's going to be joining us. And you all have been trying to find out. I've been getting all kinds of little secret messages. Who might it be? Who might it be? This is a spoiler-free zone. You got to find out Wednesday on PWR 10 million. But
10 million views?
10 million people have seen or listened to me.
How many eyes do you think have been on Linda Kay over all those views? Well, we know Kevin Nash is going to be on the program on Wednesday. He's been announced. He believes that about 855,000 of those views is attributed to him. So take that away from the 10 million. I think that leaves about 6.2 million who've been looking at Linda. Yeah, I heard that Linda has a new hashtag.
Well, I want to just let's back out of that talk. Let's back out of Linda right now and talk more about WWE RAW. Matthew, did you make a joke?
What did you just say?
RAW, which was endorsed talent Heath Slater, one-on-one with R-Truth, and unfortunately, due to Primetime Players' interference in this matchup, R-Truth wins and defeats Heath Slater. But what is very good to see about this is the Primetime Players still getting a prominent role on Raw, even with the absence of the recently released Abraham Washington. Now, Matthew, even without Abraham Washington, I was very impressed by the physical presence of the team, the Primetime Players tonight in that ring as they attacked R-Truth and then stood tall.
Absolutely, and I certainly think they'll be just fine with AW. These two guys have got plenty of charisma, and hopefully, I think it's a good thing for the tag division if they leave with the titles come Sunday night.
And, again, this without 3 hours, I don't think we have an opportunity to be seeing these tag teams featured on Raw. We had a long Divas matchup tonight as well with the endorsed Eve Torres teaming up with Beth Phoenix, going up against Caitlin and Layla. Caitlin and Layla getting the win in that matchup. But, overall, and David Hero, I know you think it's been long, but I'm very happy with the pacing of WWE Raw. I like their integration of social media. I like their integration and utilization of Tout. I like what they've been doing with the Raw active matchups. And I like seeing the source talent, like we saw with Brodus Clay tonight, getting involved in that matchup between Damian Sandow and Kristen, where Sandow got the win.
You know what's funny, Damien, about the whole Tout thing? You know what? I think Tout is a great tool for WWE to get.
So great that you buried it on Primetime last Saturday.
I'm gonna bury it right now. Also, I'm watching Raw, and they show the Tout segments, and there are grown men in their 30s and maybe 40s believing, if you want to say, what Black Snow did on SmackDown by taking Del Rio out of the title match and how they were agreeing. It's like, are you kidding me? Are they doing this to entertain the boys in the back, to show these grown adults touting about some of these things?
I don't understand what you're saying.
I think you do. I mean, come on. Are you kidding me? And here is the best thing about it, and I'm not going to mention names, but I sent that out on a tweet, all right? And I got a DM from somebody who said, what was it? In the back with Hunter. LOL. Funny tweet. Obviously, they feel the same way.
Well, I'm not gonna go there, if you will. But where I will go is
no, hold on. It's one thing to tout and to be funny, haha, and creative, but to sit there like you honestly listen. We all know wrestling's a work, right? Come on, right, Damien? We know it's predetermined, but to sit there and act like you are appalled that Booker T took away Del Rio's title shot, and that yes, he did the right. Shut up. You know what I'm saying? Come on, don't embarrass yourselves, and don't embarrass your families.
Oh, wow. I thought you were cured of this. I mean, next you're going to be talking about Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy. What is wrong with you?
I got a story about the Tooth Fairy, but I'll save that for another show.
Well, Matthew, overall, tonight's 3-hour expedition to Dallas, Texas via WWE RAW, your thoughts?
I thought they did a pretty good job. I mean, the social media did get a little bit heavy at times. I honestly really don't care what the Jersey Shore guy tweets about the show. I couldn't care less about that. A little heavy on the recaps, but at the end of the day, I think they did a pretty good job as far as getting folks to want to purchase SummerSlam come Sunday.
Yeah. And that was their job tonight, really. That's really what they needed to do, is to get people to make that order or commit to the intrigue that they built going into SummerSlam. And I think they did that with both Cena, Punk, and Show, mostly Cena, Punk. I think they also did it, obviously, with Brock Lesnar and Triple H. So I think that I think overall, for a go-home show, they did what they needed to do. But, David Hero, I got this sneaking suspicion, that you hated the show and you don't think they did enough.
No, not at all. I think they did as much as they could with what they have. I think what are you laughing for?
You know why I'm laughing. You know why I'm laughing. There it is, that jab.
Do you know what I thought was rather entertaining? Is if you look at it, tonight's Raw consisted of some of the more controversial social media players that they've had on the Raw brand over the last couple weeks. You have JTG on tonight, who had his big meltdown. Then you had Roddy Piper and Caitlyn both on the show after all the online accusations about them. Then, of course, you got Vicky Guerrero with Chris Jericho in the ring at the same time, who tweeted at Kevin Nash about the comments he's made. It's like, wow, it's like it brings a whole new dimension to everybody on this entire show. But,
that's social. Oh, yeah, no, I did know, actually, because they did show a replay tonight of Del Rio being removed from the championship matchup on Sunday at SummerSlam.
And you know what, you know why that's fine? Because, seriously, that way you can't blame Del Rio for a low buy rate on Sunday.
Matthew Thomas, what do you think is going to happen with that World Heavyweight Championship matchup Sunday at SummerSlam? Who do you think is going to be the opponent? Do you think Del Rio gets back in? Do you think it's made into a three-way? What do you think we're going to see? I mean, obviously, Cody Rhodes could easily be put in that matchup. I understand that. But beyond that, what do you think might happen?
I got to think Del Rio works his way back in some capacity. If it's not just the regular shameless Del Rio with maybe a third person thrown in there, I got to say I think it was a mistake tonight to not have something concrete made for that match and to try to push it a little further on your go-home Raw. I know they're trying to get some views for SmackDown to see what happens with that, but on your go-home Raw show before the pay-per-view, it's a mistake, I think, to not have that match made and to try to build some intrigue. As far as a third person, Daniel Bryan he is as over now as he has ever been. And I know he's got the Kane match booked with that, but it just seems like I was hoping that they were going, the way they were working him in with Punk, Cena, and Big Show, maybe throw him in that match as well. Now that this is kind of open-ended, it seems like it might be an avenue for a little larger role at the pay-per-view for Bryan as opposed to being stuck down in the mid-card match with Kane.
Maybe they called it audible. Maybe they're... Oh, go ahead.
You know what, but at the end of the day, does the SmackDown World Championship match, is that going to influence the pay-per-view buys?
I think if Daniel Bryan's involved, it does.
But I'm just saying, I mean, Sheamus and Del Rio, no one's buying it to watch Sheamus and Del Rio. They're buying it to watch Brock and Hunter and Punk and Cena. That's it. Maybe, and you know what, and Jericho and Dolph Ziggler. I think that match can be fantastic. But, you know,
all right, well,
you don't think the world title match is number 4 on the card?
I think it is number 3 on the card, yeah.
You think that has more fan interest than Jericho and Ziggler?
Well, we don't even know who's in the match yet.
Well, what I'm saying is it doesn't matter who's in the match because Dolph Ziggler...
How does it not matter who's in the match?
It doesn't because here's why it doesn't, because they haven't picked anybody. If it mattered, they would have announced who the replacement was already. The fact is that they don't know who they're going to replace him with. For all we know, Del Rio could come out on Friday Night SmackDown and win a match under a hood, and then he takes it off and, hey, look, it's me, it's Del Rio. You know what I'm saying?
They're in Los Angeles. Why would he be wearing a hood? It's not cold out there.
Well, or a mask, you know.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying it doesn't matter. That world title match doesn't mean anything because they didn't do anything with it.
That's like saying the main event at WrestleMania 37 is not going to mean anything because they don't. I mean, you can't judge that.
Nothing right now.
There's no participants.
It means nothing right now. Absolutely. Damien, if they really had a lot of faith and investment in the world title match, they would have announced it by now. More people watch Raw than they watch SmackDown.
You know, I think I know what you need now. I think I figured it all out. Saturday night. Shenanigans. They're coming back to prime time. I'm going to fix this. Who are you calling?
Bro?
Let's go around the room now, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, wait, hold on. Your hashtag tonight is trending, just so you know.
Hashtag.
Back out of Linda is trending right now on Twitter.
Why is that associated with me?
And
that's no way to introduce a lady. Linda Kay, welcome to Pro Wrestling Report Monday Meltdown. Linda, you're going to be a part of PWR 10 million views on Wednesday, the big celebration. But, Linda, what did you think of Raw tonight? What was the highlight of the night for Linda Kay?
Well, first of all, guys, please do not start that hashtag on Twitter about me. Please do not.
That's all David Hero, as you well know, stir in that pot of stew he's always got cooking on the back burner.
But anyway, you know what? I thought the Go Home Raw tonight was good. Pretty solid. I did like that interaction with Punk doing You Can't See Me, and then see them mocking Punk back. And, you know, between that interaction with them in the ring and their interaction backstage, you know, I agree with you, Matthew, that Big Show is kind of the third wheel in this triple threat match at SummerSlam. But we'll see what happens at the pay-per-view. And another, I'd rather say more a bizarre highlight, was definitely the ending to Raw tonight with Brock Lesnar beating up Shawn, kidnapping him to the ring and snapping his arm and whatnot. It was pretty entertaining, I must say, but definitely adding more heat to that match with Triple H and Brock at SummerSlam. And I'd love to see a good beatdown that night between the two of them.
Yeah. Well, Linda, I think before SummerSlam, though, on Wednesday on PWR 10 million, the view celebration, 10 million view celebration, you're going to be presenting the fan, the YouTube fan of the 10 million views. I can't wait to see that on Wednesday, and I don't know who you're going to come up with, but one of our viewers on YouTube who's commented on our videos is going to be recognized on the big 10 million view episode this coming Wednesday. Linda, thank you so much for joining us. Now let's continue around the PWR staff and go to the man they call Meathead with your thoughts, your highlight and or lowlight for WWE Raw tonight?
Well, highlight was the ending segment minus the amount of time it took. Because, at first when I saw the car and I saw Heyman stopping and I saw, Shawn stuck in the car, I swore that Rikishi was going to say he did it for The Rock. That's really what I started thinking of. Oh, boy, here we go. Other than that, I liked seeing Brodus Clay come out after Damien Sandow. I thought that was fun. I can't believe that I actually am becoming invested in the primetime players. Black Cena and Titus O'Neil. They've got it. The size, they've got energy, they're entertaining to me.
All right. Well, thank you so much for those comments. I got to say this, too, about the primetime players, and we said it earlier. They had a presence tonight, and I think it shows that presence exists and continues even without Abraham Washington, who, of course, was released just a few days ago by World Wrestling Entertainment for, and I quote, poor judgment, but whatever. We'll talk more about that on a subsequent episode. Thank you, Meathead. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, David. We're going to take a brief timeout, and when we come back, we're going to get to a couple of your phone calls as we round out the end here of Monday Night Meltdown. This is the Pro Wrestling Report live on Blog Talk Radio.
Monday Night Meltdown continues after this, live on Blog Talk Radio. This is the Pro Wrestling Report. Informative, entertaining, real. Don't forget to follow PWR right here on Blog Talk Radio right now. Be reminded of upcoming episodes and never miss Blog Talk Radio's most popular sports show. Follow PWR now. Subscribe to the Pro Wrestling Report on YouTube. We promise we'll never rickroll you, but we might just chokeslam you. Click the subscribe button now and be part of the revolution. You're listening to Monday Night Meltdown live from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and broadcasting worldwide on Blog Talk Radio. Missed an episode on the Pro Wrestling Report? Thanks, pal. Subscribe to the show on iTunes and take the show with you wherever you go, even in the bathroom. Follow us on Twitter for breaking news, live wrestling chat, and pure hilarity. Head over to twitter.com/PWR Show and be part of the conversation.
All the little birds on Jaybird Street look to where the robin goes tweet, 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 robin, robin, tweet, tweet, rock, rock, robin, robin, tweet.
There's only one place to get the latest from pro wrestling, including the only place to get 100% verified wrestling news. PWRshow.com. PWRshow.com, where you'll never find pop-ups or misleading headlines. Watch or listen to all of our latest TV and radio broadcasts on demand and get caught up on wrestling news between episodes. PWRshow.com is the cleanest, friendliest, and most fan-friendly source for wrestling news on the web. The Monday Night Meltdown phone zone is now open. Give us a call live at 1-877-317-9772. And be sure to press 1 to get in where you fit in and be part of tonight's live show. We'll call on you by your area code, and when you hear it, tell us your name and where you're calling from. Then proceed with your question or comment.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report, Monday Night Meltdown here on Blog Talk Radio. Just a couple of hours away from our next big announcement. And hell, you know what? This might be, this is definitely one of the most substantial announcements we've ever made in the history of this program. We are celebrating 10 million views on YouTube. 10 million views on YouTube. That's going to be a big episode Wednesday at 7 o'clock p.m. PWRshow.com and on YouTube. We've already announced Kevin Nash is going to be a part of it. Lita is going to be on the broadcast. Matt Hardy is going to be on the broadcast. Robbie E and Robbie T. Special stars you'll never guess you'll see on the Pro Wrestling Report. We'll be a part of that broadcast, all happening Wednesday night. So be sure to tell your friends and be sure to tune in and share in the celebration. Wednesday night, 7 o'clock p.m. It's a 10 million view celebration of the Pro Wrestling Report. But now we're going to go to some phone calls. I want to hear your comments on WWE Raw tonight. And let's start out in North Carolina. Ruben, you're here live on the phone with the Pro Wrestling Report on the Meltdown. Ruben, go right ahead.
It's Northern California, my brother, but what up?
Did I say Carolina? I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is wine country, my man, USA.
Now, did you hear about the story that came out today and about the wrestling promotion that said, and I quote, "No blacks, please"? And they meant it for a show in North Carolina.
Shoot, I don't want to. You know what? That's still the continuing nonsense of the world that needs to grow up. You know how it is.
Right. Oh, believe me, I know.
But let's talk about this. Now, if we're talking about as far as wrestling goes on Raw, and I did say the W word, wrestling, I'll give it a B-. It was pretty good. But for us, the show as a whole, it's a D+. I mean, I didn't get the extra 25 minutes or 40 minutes that was still left that they could have done something with. Now, I know they said that most of their stars went over to Japan when they were doing an international tour or whatever, but my God, they draw that out. I mean, thank God I was, flipping through the channels. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not that wrestling fan who says he's not going to watch next week, but I kept flip-flopping from football to wrestling because it's kind of like, my God, you guys are draining me out with this. And honestly, you guys here at the PWR show make me want to buy this pay-per-view more than what I saw on Raw tonight. Raw didn't really sell it to me to buy this pay-per-view. I mean, what about the World Championship? At the end of the show, you decided to tell me, who's going to be the number one contender? Let me guess, a Battle Royal. Oh, let me guess, who's going to win? Randy Orton.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing here on the show that made me want to. I mean, the whole Shawn Michaels, I mean, I watched our show Saturday night, and everything that Del Hero said is exactly what I said the week before I called y'all. I told you, the show, you had 20 to 30 minutes where you could have popped in a match. Think about it. I saw the Uso twins in the back. You could have put them in a tag team match against McGillicuddy, Mr. Perfect Jr., and Ted DiBiase. That's another good 20 minutes you could have had. Y'all do what y'all got to do.
You sound frustrated, Ruben.
I am. I'm just like, what did I walk away from this? They didn't make me want to buy the pay-per-view. Oh, John Cena, you can't see me. Oh, what? You didn't do anything for me. I mean, think about it. I was more.
Said he learned a new move today.
You know what I was more enthusiastic about? Seeing Chris Jericho in a wrestling match. That made me excited because that was a great triple threat match. That was great.
Hell, and for all we know, this could be the last time you see Jericho on Raw for a while, as he has publicly stated he's going to be doing more touring with his band Fozzy starting after SummerSlam.
I mean, does he really need to be there? Really? I mean, think about it. The man's the first ever undisputed champion. The man's done it all in the business. I think, he doesn't really have nothing left to prove for the company. And then think about it. You bury your U.S. champion by putting him on the post show. Why don't you call it what it is? The I want to need to watch wrestling on YouTube again match.
I think Santino's going for a record to be on the most YouTube pre-shows for WWE pay-per-views of anyone else.
I mean,
somebody, second one, I believe.
I mean, somebody talk to me. Tell me something to make me buy this pay-per-view because right now I'm going to save my $50 for some pizza and beer and watch some preseason football, man. What do you think? I don't know.
Ruben, thank you so much for that call. I'm going to deflect to you on this one, David Hero, as the Booker man. What should, if they didn't do it correctly, but what do you think WWE should have done tonight to sell SummerSlam and make Ruben click on that button on his remote control and pay $54 to buy this pay-per-view?
Considering
all, one thing, the major thing that they should have done.
Well, you know what? Considering all the egos that are involved in, two of the top matches, there's not a whole lot they could have done because you need to keep Punk as a strong, tweener champion. You really can't leave John Cena being laid out because the kids want to cheer for him. Big Show, you knock out the Giant again, and if you were to lose on Sunday, well, he's finished. you don't want Brock and Triple H to touch each other at all anymore until Sunday. I mean, I guess given what they got the best they could give, if that makes any sense whatsoever. I don't think they could have changed. I don't think they could have changed a whole lot. I mean, maybe you don't spend 40 minutes on Brock and Triple H, which is what they did. I thought that the placement of some of the matches could have been different. I mean, they should have ended Raw with a battle royal for the SmackDown Championship match. I think that would have been great. It gives SmackDown a good rub. You announce the 3 title matches, and now the fans have a good 4.5 to 5 days to decide do they want to drop $50 or not.
Yeah.
But they don't have much to work with because a lot of other talent hasn't been elevated. So they did the best they could tonight, and it was a good show. I'm not trying to be negative. There was some really good stuff that happened tonight. That triple threat match was solid. I was impressed on how the primetime players were able to come out without their manager AEW, and they still got over.
Absolutely. Maybe more so, it seems almost.
I mean, if you think about it, they've been pushing the primetime players now for the last month and a half. And they've always had a mouthpiece. Well, they came out without one. Imagine how uncertain they were going out there without their third. And they pulled it off. They did a good job with it. So for me, that was definitely a plus. I guess the bigger story that we're not talking about right now, and we'll probably save that, for Saturday primetime, is all the mid-card talent that's frustrated in what's happening with them right now. JTG was sent out to slaughter today. Right?
That he was, and that definitely is worthy of a future conversation. Not the time for it tonight, because we do have another caller to get to. And actually, last night on pay-per-view was TNA Hardcore Justice, where Austin Aries retained the championship over Bobby Roode, but we did see a brand new TNA Knockouts champion crowned in Madison Rain, who defeated Miss Tessmacher. And let's see what Arthur Jones from Bloomington has to say about the Aces and Eights, which played a prominent role in that pay-per-view last night as well. Arthur, you're live.
Yo, what's up, guys? Yeah, I want to talk about Aces and Eights and Raw. First off, let's talk about Aces and Eights. I already know who 2 of those guys are. The 2 guys I know who are under those masks are.
How do you know who they are?
Because I read it on a wrestling site.
Don't believe everything you read. Come on now, Arthur. We're with the sophisticated fan here. Let's not spoil it. There's going to be a reveal. When the reveal happens, let me tell you this though. When the reveal happens, it won't be the guys who are doing it right now.
Okay. Now I will mention the ring leader, so forget that. Now, as for Raw, I give it a slight A on my behalf because for one reason, that triple threat match, that was great. I loved it. I loved it when Chris Jericho was in that match, and the Miz and Dolph Ziggler. Even though I didn't want Dolph to win, but the one thing I hated, and I will hate this for as long as I live, was when Shawn Michaels got his arm broken by Brock Lesnar. Now, I don't know what Triple H is going to do, but he needs to have one weapon in his hand in order to stop Brock Lesnar, and that's his trusted sledgehammer. Because without that sledgehammer, there is no way Triple H is going to win.
Thank you for that call, Arthur from Bloomington. I think it's been deliberate that we have not seen Triple H yield or wield that sledgehammer as of late. But, Matthew, do you think that's the secret weapon that he needs on Sunday in order to defeat Brock Lesnar? They talked about some 10 years ago where Brock Lesnar went in and beat The Rock on the history book last Wednesday on primetime. We talked about that SummerSlam where it was one of the first times we saw the sledgehammer when he used it on his dear friend Shawn Michaels. Is that the equalizer? Is that what Triple H needs this Sunday on pay-per-view?
I think it's going to make an appearance without any doubt, whether it's what he uses to ultimately beat Brock Lesnar. that remains to be seen. But I think you'll definitely see it, and I think you'll probably see your fair share of weapons. It's going to be a most likely violent, brutal match. I'm expecting something along the lines of what we saw with Brock Cena at Extreme Rules. So Sledgehammer's probably definitely going to come out, and I expect a pretty rough match out of it.
Well, we'll see what happens this Sunday night on pay-per-view. I want to thank everybody for joining us here on the Meltdown tonight. I want to remind everybody to join us on the big celebratory episode, PWR 10 million views on YouTube alone, achieved just this past weekend. We're going to celebrate with great stars, big guests. For the first time ever, an endorsed talent joins us live on the broadcast. Kevin Nash will join us to further explain his comments recently about Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit. And tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., the most major of major announcements, the final guests will be announced for PWR 10 million tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., PWRshow.com, YouTube, and at PWR Show on Twitter. I want to thank all of you for tuning in. I want to thank Matthew, David, Meathead, Linda, as well for joining us here on the Meltdown. We'll see you Wednesday night, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time for the Pro Wrestling Report 10 million view celebration. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. We'll see you soon.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report. Informative, entertaining, real.